What's up, guys? Welcome to the video on deriving and understanding a formula. Let's do it. You're gonna see some questions on the ISEE that are gonna ask you to really understand or derive a formula based on a word problem or a fact scenario. And so I'm gonna give you an example of how to do that. I mean, this is really all about truly understanding why we have formulas and functions to represent different scenarios. But I'm going to give you a rough idea of the general process or general approach for these problems. And we're going to do that by going through a practice problem together. So here, first of all, it's really important to do two things. You know, identify two parts, a constant and a variable factor. So let's take this example here. Eris is ordering shirts for his football club. The order costs a flat $50 for the design and $4 per shirt. If X represents the number of shirts ordered, which of the equations in the answer choices could be used to calculate Y, the total cost of Eris's order? So what do I mean by a constant? Constant is something that is just there, that doesn't change. It's often a flat fee or starting cost that you have to pay to begin a business. So what would be the piece here that just doesn't change, that is just one-time $50, or one-time fee, excuse me, that would be the $50, right? So that is our constant. So there it's outlined in red. Now what is the variable factor? That is the amount that is going to change based on a variable. And here we nicely have X given as the variable representing the number of shirts. That can change. And we know that the cost is going to be $4 per shirt. So that right there is our variable factor, and it's of course related directly to that X. So now what we have to do is we're going to look at these different answer choices here. We got A, B, C, and D, and we got to figure out which one of these equations matches up with our fact pattern. So again, think that constant value is just going to be hanging out there. It's not going to change. It's something we have to pay right at the start, and it's just $50. That $4 we have to pay is going to depend on the number of shirts. So now let's think, if we had one shirt printed, we would be spending $4. If we had two shirts printed, well, we have $4 and $4 again, so that would be $8. So we got to think about how those two interact, and it sounds like multiplication. So when we look at these different options, the one that would make the most sense is where we've got X, that variable, multiplying that 4, and then that 50 being just added on, and the option that best suits this fact pattern is A, Y equals 4X plus 50. That's all for the video on deriving and understanding a formula. Let's get into some practice problems.